Morning everyone, welcome to my 166 topics, and my topic this week is it's really about being free and having material wealth. And I thought this was a very good topic we could explore because, a lot of us tend to go through life chasing that next shiny object and having, whatever it is that we need in our life. And, we tend to feel that, when we do this, we're going to feel this way, or when I lose weight, then I'm going to feel this better, and when I get my new car, then things are always going to be okay, and when this happens and when that happens. And the reality is that it's often very short-lived. So we obtain our whatever it is that we're obtaining, and it gives us whatever pleasure it gives us. And either, my kids, we have a bit of a saying like, my life is complete now. Now I have this piano chord, my life is complete. And then it's not long, and then we're starting to look for the next thing. So, the discussion that I wanted to have today is really about, does that really make us free? Like, the more material objects that we own, the more things that we own, does that end up giving us a greater sense of freedom? So, yeah, exploring the word freedom. So from my personal view and understanding is, I lived for 18 years on a farm. So the thing about having a farm is that you have lots of space. And when you have lots of space, you can pick up lots of things. So the farm actually became really, really busy, and there was lots of stuff and picking up more stuff with it. I might need this and I might need that. And, eventually there was like 10 cars lying around or whatever it is. And it didn't actually give me any greater sense of freedom or security in any shape or form. And if anything, it was actually harder to deal with that. So when we relocated over to the east side of the country and things basically got put into sea containers and things got stacked and stored, it's amazing how many of these things that you don't actually need or you don't actually use. So when it came to, getting those 3 sea containers and sort of getting them over here, there was a lot of culling that actually went on, because the reality is that we don't end up needing this stuff. So, when you explore minimalisation and actually look at things that are happening in your life, like, when our life is very cluttered and we have lots of shit lying around and lots of stuff, that clutters us energetically. So it really doesn't matter whether you start to spring clean your house on the outside or whether you start to spring clean on the inside. But the more you do that, the irony is that you find yourself becoming freer and freer and freer. So there's a really good statement that I wrote down this morning. If I free myself, I will have enough. And that really is the truth of it all. It's not so much about accumulating stuff so that we can be free, because the opposite tends to happen. The more stuff we actually attract in our lives, the more cluttered and the more heavy we can become. But if we start focusing on freeing up ourselves, you'll find that your attachment that you have to stuff will change, and your desire for new shiny objects in your life will also change as well. So to me, freedom is really about being able to have the freedom and the choice to do whatever it is that we want to be doing and how we want to be doing that. And, we can all acknowledge the shift that's happening in the planet in regards to people, and, the entrepreneurs suddenly are everywhere, and the old souls and the light workers are out there doing their things and helping people to go through transitions and changes. So, it's worth acknowledging the fact that there has been a lot of changes that's happened in the planet in the last 35 years, and, more changes are coming. And part of what people are really wanting is that sense of freedom. So, my message here today, as messages always are from me, that everything always starts on the inside first. If you really want to be getting that sense of freedom within yourself, then it's really valuable for you to start doing whatever you need to do to make yourself feel better on the inside. So while we're talking about freedom, I just really want to expand a little bit on that and really talk about the fact that, we are moving into a space where there is quite instant manifestation that's happening now, and to be mindful of that, because whatever you're thinking about can quite easily come about now. And, sometimes in asking for freedom, we can actually be untied from, I don't know, relationships, work contracts. It could be something that you're not necessarily wanting to be free from, but I'm sure it's always going to be for your highest and greatest good if that is what your intention is. So, when looking for fulfilling, happiness within yourself, like, always start as it being an inside job, and I'm always happy to help people with that work. This is the work that I very much do, is about encouraging people to really step into that space of honouring yourself, working with your own body, managing your own toolbox. So basically you're driving your life and not really needing or being dependent on anything else. And to me, that then really gives you a sense of freedom, because becomes a point where there's no sort of situation that you're in where you can't sort it out. Like, it's very easy for you to process or to sort out or to shift whatever's happening around you, so that you can start reframing and bringing in again what you want to have in your life. So just to recap about going through the fact of, we acquire material items and it can basically keep us very cluttered. I'm sure people are going to quite often disagree with that, and that's fine. You can, everyone has their own opinions and their own beliefs with that. Though sometimes the more attachments we have, the more it can weigh us down, the more things that we are attached to. So, I see that very much like cords of energy that's coming out. Like, if we've got an attachment to a car or to a certain place or a block of land or, people, that these are attachments that are coming out, and connections that you have with different items, things, places, and the more, of course, attachments we have, the more scattered we become. So, the more we can fine tune and clarify, the better. Even when you look at Feng Shui, like, Feng Shui is always very particular about, not having things around you that you're not using, that are projects that are not being finished, or jobs that haven't been done, or half finished, whatever it is. So, make sure you look at cleaning some of that stuff out. If, an easy thing that I've done is, if you put your hand on it and say, is this serving me? Am I going to use this? Have I used this in the last 12 months? If it's a no, then pass it on. If you're worried about chucking it out, give it to the op shop or something, and just allow yourself to clear and be free. So, the question today is really about freedom. What is freedom for you? If you find that you start to free yourself of anything that's attaching or connecting to you, or you're holding you back, then you start to find that you really have everything that you need. And you'll find that, again, that freedom is an inside job. So until then, if you ever want any help or any advice or any sessions with me, by all means contact me, and happy to have some sessions and time with you to help you find some of your own inner freedom and outer freedom too. But until then, you take care of yourselves, and we will be in touch and seeing you in love and light and happiness and health. You take care. Bye.